Hey there. In this episode, I think you'll really enjoy it. I talk about hand sanitizers and the alcohol effects on the skin. And a little cool fact is that Sparkling Rain is the second product that I developed. And one of the reasons why I developed it was because I wanted a natural hand disinfectant for when I'm trucking, going to outhouses, going to fuel up stations, going to corner stores, that kind of thing, just as travel. And I wanted to make sure I was protected. At the same time, I wanted to make sure that, well, I do want to make sure, but I wanted a hand sanitizer that moisturized and hydrated my hands, but didn't feel like a plastic bag over them. I wanted to be able to work and have the diversity of being able to touch things and actually interact with the world without feeling like I was giving off a slimy residue. So this episode is a very interesting one, and I hope you enjoy it.
Percent of germs.
99.99%. Yep.
But I've got to admit, I don't always think about what's actually in that stuff or, how it affects my skin.
Right.
So today we are diving deep into hand sanitizer.
Oh, deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to be looking specifically at their impact on that, what is it, the skin microbiome.
That invisible world, yeah.
Yeah, the trillions of microorganisms that live on us and supposedly keep us healthy.
Exactly. They're supposed to be good for us.
So to help us unpack all of this, we've got some excerpts here from, it's called Sanitizers That Protect Without Disrupting the Microbiome.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful,
Yeah.
but it's a really interesting document that kind of got us thinking, are those conventional alcohol-based sanitizers really doing us any favors?
Right. What are the downsides?
Yeah, and it also talks about a natural alternative can have today's sparkling rain.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it claims to, protect without all those harsh side effects.
Mhm.
So, we hear all the time about this microbiome thing, but I'll be honest, it's always felt kind of abstract to me.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, what is it really?
Well, think of it like this. Your skin is basically like a bustling city, right? Teeming with trillions of these tiny residents. Bacteria, fungi, viruses.
A whole metropolis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is your skin microbiome. This microscopic community, they're not just there for the ride. They're working hard to keep you healthy.
Oh, okay. So they're like productive members of society. They're not just loitering.
Exactly. They pay rent.
That's what I like to hear.
Right. So
Yeah.
they're your skin's first line of defense, basically.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they produce substances that can actually, you know, kill off those nasty pathogens that are trying to get in.
So they're like the bouncers at the club.
Exactly. Keeping the riffraff out.
I like that.
Yeah. And they also compete with those bad bacteria for resources. So it's harder for them to, like, take hold and cause an infection.
So it's like a constant turf war happening on our skin.
Exactly. Microscopic level.
That's wild. Okay, so when we use hand sanitizer, are we disrupting that delicate balance?
Well, that's the thing with some of those conventional alcohol-based sanitizers. They are effective, at killing germs,
Right. They work.
but they don't discriminate. They can wipe out the good bacteria along with the bad.
Ah, okay. So it's like collateral damage.
Kind of, yeah. And this can create an environment where opportunistic pathogens can flourish. And that can lead to, irritation, dryness, even infections.
So it's kind of like, you use weed killer, but it also kills your prize roses.
Exactly.
Not a good situation. So this document we have here, it focuses on a few specific chemicals that are pretty common hand sanitizers.
Mhm.
One that really caught my eye was benzene. It's actually classified as a carcinogen by the World Health Organizations, right? That's serious stuff.
Yeah, and studies have actually linked it to a whole range of health problems.
Like what?
Like blood disorders, immune suppression. And the thing is, it can be absorbed through the skin, so it's potentially causing damage, like at a cellular level. Even low-level exposure over time, that can be harmful.
See, that's what I mean. I had no clue benzene was even something to worry about in hand sanitizers. It makes you wonder what else is lurking in there.
For sure. It really raises questions about the ingredients
Mm.
and, what we're exposing ourselves to in the long run. And, benzene's just one thing. What about alcohol itself?
Right, the main ingredient.
Exactly. That's what gives hand sanitizers, their germ-killing power.
So let's talk about that. Alcohol, yeah, it kills the germs, but what's the downside? Because I know I've definitely experienced dry skin after using it too much.
Oh, yeah. That's super common. Both Ethanol and isopropyl alcohol, those are the types that are most frequently used, and they're very drying
Okay, makes sense.
because, they strip away your skin's natural oils. Which, by the way, those oils, that's your protective barrier.
Ah, so it's like our own built-in moisturizer.
Right. So it's more than just, a cosmetic thing. Having dry skin, it's not just about, ooh, it feels a little tight.
Right, because dry, cracked skin, that's like an open invitation for infection. Right.
Exactly. It defeats the purpose of using sanitizer in the first place. When your skin's barrier is compromised, it's so much easier for, bacteria and pathogens to get in.
Oh, yeah, that makes total sense.
And if you have a pre-existing condition like eczema, forget it. Using those alcohol-based sanitizers all the time, it can make things so much worse.
More dryness, more itching.
Yeah, all of that.
So it's like you use the sanitizer to prevent germs, but it actually makes your skin more vulnerable.
Totally a catch-22.
It is. And there's more. This list goes on. We've got toluene. I've heard of isn't that like an industrial solvent?
Right. It's kind of crazy to think about,
Mm.
What's it doing in our hand sanitizer?
Seriously, like what's going on there?
Well, it's a known neurotoxin, meaning it can affect, the nervous system. It's also been linked to skin irritation, disrupts skin cell function, all that.
Okay, I'm definitely thinking twice about that convenient bottle of sanitizer now. And then there's triclosan. Didn't they ban that from soaps a while back?
You've got a good memory. Yes. The FDA banned it from consumer soaps back in 2016 because, concerns about bacterial resistance, and it's a potential endocrine disruptor.
So wait a minute, they ban it from soap, but it's still allowed in hand sanitizer?
Yeah, it's a bit of a loophole.
That's wild. So even if you're like trying to be diligent, checking labels and all that,
Right. You can't escape it.
there's still some questionable stuff getting in there. This is making me pretty skeptical of it, that kills 99.99% of germs claim we see everywhere. Is that really the whole story?
That's a great question. You know that 99.99% figure, it usually comes from lab settings, right? Where everything's controlled.
Yeah.
But think about how you typically use hand sanitizer. Quick squirt, rub it around for a few seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'm guilty of the 5-second hand sanitizer routine. Not exactly scientific.
Exactly. And in real life, you've got dirt, grease, your skin's natural oils even. All of that can interfere. There was a study actually in the American Journal of Infection Control. They found that only 1 in 5 hand sanitizers actually met that 99.99% claim when they tested it in real-world conditions.
Wait, only 1 in 5? So we might not be getting the protection we think we are, and we could be exposing ourselves to all these potentially harmful chemicals at the same time.
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. And, alcohol-based sanitizers, they're not a magic bullet, right?
Yep.
They're less effective against certain types of germs, like C. difficile, and norovirus. Those can cause some pretty nasty stomach bugs. So even if you're using it regularly, you could still be at risk. Which, this is all making that natural alternative we mentioned, can have today's sparkling rain, seem pretty intriguing. They claim to be just as effective, but without those harsh side effects.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
What makes sparkling rain different?
Well, from what we've got here, sparkling rain ditches the alcohol altogether. They rely on a blend of plant-based ingredients that are naturally antimicrobial.
So they're going for the power of nature to fight germs?
Exactly.
I already like the sound of that. What kind of ingredients are we talking about?
Well, one that stood out to me was chaga mushroom extract.
Chaga mushrooms, like in my hand sanitizer.
I know, right? But it's actually known for its potent antifungal and antibacterial properties.
Huh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And it's got these bioactive compounds that make it super effective.
Okay, so it's got the germ-fighting power. But what about the dryness, the irritation we talked about? Does sparkling rain deal with that?
Oh, yeah, they've thought of that. Canna today, they seem to have taken a more holistic approach. So in addition to those antimicrobial ingredients, they've got a blend of avocado oil, shea butter, aloe vera.
Okay, so they're like moisturizing while they fight the germs.
Exactly. And here's another cool thing. Unlike alcohol, which evaporates really quickly, sparkling rain actually forms a protective layer on your skin, like a botanical layer.
So it's long-lasting protection, and it helps keep your skin moisturized.
Yep. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Okay, I'm liking the sparkling rain more and more. But the big question for me is, how does it affect the skin's microbiome? We talked about how alcohol can disrupt that balance, but what about these plant-based ingredients?
Right. And that's what's really interesting and why this document, Sanitizers That Protect Without Disrupting the Microbiome, caught our eye. It seems that instead of just wiping everything out, like alcohol does, sparkling rain is designed to work with your skin's natural ecosystem.
Okay, so it's more of a targeted approach.
Yeah. Supports the good bacteria while keeping the bad guys in check.
I like that. A much more balanced approach.
Right. And that's kind of today's whole philosophy. They're not just focused on killing germs, they're focused on, nourishing and supporting your skin's natural defenses.
So it's like they're playing the long game.
Exactly.
I'm already fascinated by this idea of like trillions of microorganisms working together to keep us healthy.
It's a remarkable system, and the more we learn about it, the more we realize, how interconnected it is with our health.
It's not just skin deep. Okay, so we know it's made up of like bacteria, fungi, even viruses. But what are they actually doing down there? It's got to be more than just, crowding out the bad guys.
Oh, for sure. It's way more complex than that.
Mm.
Like, one of the key things the microbiome does is it maintains the integrity of our skin barrier. Think of it like a brick wall.
Okay, a brick wall protecting our body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But from the outside world. And the microbiome, it helps to keep that wall strong.
So like mortar between the bricks.
Yeah, kind of like that. It produces substances that hold those skin cells together, prevent moisture loss, all that good stuff. And it also helps to regulate the skin's pH.
pH, right, that's important.
Yeah, it creates an environment that's less hospitable to those harmful bacteria and fungi.
So it's not just about who's living there, it's about the overall health of our skin.
Precisely. And it gets even more interesting. The microbiome, it actually plays a role in educating and regulating our immune system.
Wait, hold on. Immune system, like our overall immune system.
Yeah. So your immune system is always on patrol, right? Looking for anything that doesn't belong. And the microbiome, with all its different microorganisms, it helps to train your immune system.
To recognize the good guys from the bad guys.
Exactly. Like a boot camp for your immune cells.
I like that analogy. So this early exposure to all those different microbes, it's like essential training.
Yep. For developing a healthy immune response. And it's not just limited to your skin either. Research is showing connections between the skin microbiome and the immune system throughout your whole body.
So it's like way bigger than we think. What we put on our skin could be influencing our overall immune health.
It really could. And that's why messing with the balance of the microbiome can have some pretty far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, we talked about dryness and irritation, but it sounds like it goes way beyond that.
Oh, yeah. A disrupted microbiome can contribute to, allergies, eczema, even more serious inflammatory conditions.
And we think of hand sanitizer as such a simple thing, but it could be impacting our health in ways we don't even realize.
For sure. And that's why, knowing what to use, what's in those products, it's so important.
Totally agree. So let's talk about alcohol again. Remember that bulldozer analogy? Just wiping out everything.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget that one.
So what does the research say about that?
Well, studies have shown that using alcohol-based sanitizers all the time, it can really reduce the diversity of your skin microbiome.
Okay, less diversity, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah, because that loss of diversity, it weakens your skin's defenses, makes it easier for those harmful bacteria to take over.
So it's not just the dryness, it's the long-term impact on the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And for people with, eczema, it's a big deal. A healthy, diverse microbiome can help keep things under control. But when it's disrupted, you get flare-ups, it's harder to manage.
Right, you're basically taking away the things that are helping to keep things in balance. And I remember, wasn't there a report that a lot of healthcare workers who use sanitizer all the time, they experience hand dermatitis?
Yeah, the CDC reported that 20% of healthcare workers experience that, which is pretty alarming if you think about it.
It is. Okay, so alcohol, we're getting a pretty clear picture there. What about those other chemicals we talked about? Triclosan and toluene.
Right. So triclosan, as we said, it's kind of controversial.
Right.
Banned from soaps, but still allowed in some hand sanitizers.
I still don't get that. Why is it allowed in one but not the other?
Yeah, it's a regulatory thing.
Yeah.
But from the microbiome's perspective, the issue is that it can disrupt the balance of bacteria.
It's like picking winners and losers, but it's picking the wrong winners.
Exactly. And then toluene, well, that's a neurotoxin, skin irritant, all that. We don't have a ton of research specifically on its effects on the microbiome.
Right.
But, anything that messes with your skin health, it's probably not good for those beneficial microbes.
Makes sense. So are we saying all hand sanitizers are bad? What's the takeaway here?
No, it's not that simple. It's more about, being aware, read the labels, understand the ingredients, and make choices that are right for you.
Okay, so informed choices. And luckily, it sounds like there are alternatives out there that are taking a different approach, like that sparkling rain we talked about.
Right. And what's exciting about sparkling rain is, it's not just avoiding the bad stuff. It's about actively supporting the microbiome.
Okay, let's talk about that. What makes it different? How does it do that?
Well, remember those plant-based ingredients. The chaga mushroom extract, the grapefruit oil, they're not just good at killing germs, they're also gentle on the skin and the microbes.
So it's like precision targeting, taking out the bad guys without harming the good guys.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, sparkling rain has all those moisturizing agents. Aloe vera, shea butter, all that.
So supporting the skin barrier at the same time, it's multitasking.
Exactly. And they've also paid attention to pH balance, which is important. They formulated sparkling rain to maintain the optimal pH for a healthy microbiome.
Why is pH so important? I've heard that before, but
So your skin, it has a naturally acidic pH, and that helps keep those harmful bacteria under control. But a lot of those conventional hand sanitizers, they mess with that balance.
so they're actually making our skin more vulnerable.
Yeah. But sparkling rain, it's designed to work with your skin's natural pH.
Smart. Okay, so they've really thought this through. But I'm curious about the long-term effects. Like, what does it really mean for our skin to use a product that supports the microbiome versus one that disrupts it?
That's the big question, right? And it's something researchers are still figuring out. But the research so far, it all points to this. A healthy, balanced microbiome is key for long-term skin health.
Okay, tell me more. This is what I want to know. Okay, so a healthy microbiome means healthy skin long-term. But what does that actually look like?
Well, a thriving microbiome means you've got a stronger skin barrier.
Right, we talked about that.
So your skin's better at holding in moisture, keeping those irritants out.
So less dryness, redness, all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because a balanced microbiome helps to regulate your immune system, you're also less likely to get those inflammatory flare-ups.
Which can be so annoying.
The worst. And there's even research coming out now about the microbiome and wound healing.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so a healthy microbiome can actually help wounds heal faster and can reduce the risk of infection.
Well, that makes sense. If your skin's defenses are strong, it can recover faster.
Right, and this is where it gets really wild. There's some evidence suggesting that a healthy skin microbiome could help protect against certain types of skin cancer.
Wait, hold on. Are you serious? Skin cancer?
Yeah, it's still early,
Hmm.
but there are studies showing that some of the bacteria in a healthy microbiome, they can actually help suppress the growth of tumor cells.
So these little microbes are like, fighting cancer. That's incredible.
Pretty amazing, right? It really shows how important it is to take care of our microbiome, not just for our skin, but potentially for our whole body.
Okay, I'm convinced. We need to ditch those harsh hand sanitizers and find something that's microbiome friendly. But practically speaking, what can people do?
Well, first of all, good old-fashioned hand washing, that's still the best.
Really? So soap and water still wins?
Yep. It gets rid of dirt and germs without, messing with your skin's natural oils or the microbiome. Save the hand sanitizer for when you can't wash your hands.
Makes sense. So when you do need to use sanitizer, what should we be looking for?
Read those labels. Look for alcohol-free, or at least something with a lower concentration of alcohol. And pay attention to the other ingredients. Natural plant-based stuff, like what's in that sparkling rain, that's a good sign.
So look for things that, nourish the skin, not just nuke everything.
Exactly. Ingredients like aloe vera, shea butter, those kinds of things. And avoid the harsh chemicals, like triclosan, toluene,
Yeah,
benzene.
right. So we're being label detectives. Any other tips for keeping our microbiome happy?
Sure. Think of your skin as an ecosystem, right? You need to nourish it. So moisturize regularly, use gentle lotions and creams, and be mindful of all the products you use on your skin. Avoid the harsh chemicals and fragrances as much as you can.
It's about creating a healthy environment.
Exactly. And don't forget about lifestyle stuff. Stress, sleep, diet, all of that affects your skin microbiome. It's all connected.
Wow, so it's really a whole body approach.
Yep. Taking care of yourself inside and out.
All right, well, I think we've learned a lot today about this amazing world of the skin microbiome. And those conventional hand sanitizers, maybe not as great as we thought.
Yeah, there are definitely some downsides to consider.
But luckily, there are alternatives out there, like that sparkling rain, that seem to be doing things differently.
Right, a more balanced approach.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Knowing what you now know, how are you going to approach hand hygiene going forward?
Are you going to grab that quick and easy alcohol-based sanitizer, or will you look for a gentler option?
Think about it. It's your skin, your health. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the skin microbiome. Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.